Let's consider this question on the board. We all know that by the definition of Lambert W function, that the W function of s multiplied by e to s is always equals to s. But why? Have you asked yourself this question? Why is it that the W function of s multiplied by e to s is always equals to what? X. Now today in this video, we're going to provide or prove why the Lambert W function of s multiplied by s is always equals to what? X. Take note that the Lambert W function you are hearing about is the word product of what? Logarithm. Do you know that it is a function that brings about the Lambert W function? Let me show you an example. Let me show you this function. Have you seen a function in your life that if f of x, okay, is equals to s multiplied by e to x, and if you are asked to find the inverse function of x, the inverse function of x is equals to what? What are you going to do here? What are you going to do? This brought about what? The Lambert W function. Let's see what you can do. Take note that f of x simply means what? Y. F of x, okay, is equals to what? Y. It implies, okay, that y is equals to s multiplied by e to what? X. Right? Amazing. Remember, we are looking for the inverse function of s. What is inverse function? An inverse function is a function that reverses the operation of another what? Function. Take note. An inverse function is a function that reverses the operation of another what? Function. But what are we going to do? Remember that if you are given a function of f of s, I want to use something to explain f of x, okay? F of s equals to what? 2x plus 3. And you're asked to find the inverse function of what? Inverse function of x. This is primary. This is very simple for all of you to know. But I know why I'm using this so that you can understand what is going on here. Remember that inverse f of s simply means y. So it means that y is equals to 2x plus what? 3. Remember that our teacher or your teacher always told you, or your teacher have taught you, that to make this very smart, you can switch or swap. We call it swap. You can swap from here. What does swap mean? Swap means that in place of y, you put s, in place of s, you put y. But you know, we can also leave it this way. You can also solve it this way as y is subtracted from both sides minus 3 is equals to what? 2 what? X. Right? Divide this by 2, divide this by what? 2. 2 will cancel out 2. So s is equals to y minus what? 3 divided by what? 2. But we're looking for y. From here, just swap. So y is equals to x minus what? 3 divided by what? 2. What amazing. But you know the shortcut your teacher always told you, that if you swap, it means that s is equal, it means that s is equals to 2y minus what? 3. Then you solve for y. So it means that s plus what? 3 is equals to what? 2y. Divide this by 2, divide this by 2. This go, then y is equals to s plus what? 3. This is plus now, sorry. It was plus. Okay, it was plus, okay. So it means that s minus, so if this come become minus 3 is equals to 2y by 2, divide this by 2. 2 go, so y is equals to x minus 3 divided by 2. And it's the same thing with this. So something that your teacher will told you to swap, you are correct. Swap is also correct, but you can also solve it. So for s, when you solve for s, you just swap from here. Look at the value of s is equals to y minus 3 divided by 2, then swap. Why are we swapping? Remember that f of s is equals to y. An inverse function is a function that reverses the operation of another function. So if f of s is equals to y, so the inverse function of x, you must make y the subject of the formula for you to have the inverse function of what? X. Wow. So it means that from here, the inverse function of s is equals to s minus what? 3 divided by what? 2. Wow. This is genius. Amazing. I love this. Alright. Now, f of s is equals to this, right? Remember that anytime you substitute the original function into the inverse function, you must have x. You must have s. That's what I know why I'm explaining this, because there's something I want to do here. When look at the original function, which is 2s plus 3. If you substitute the original function into the inverse function, you must have x. Pay attention. The inverse function of x is equals to x minus what? 3 divided by what? 2. Okay? Alright. Now, let's substitute the original function to the inverse function. So the inverse function of the original function which is 2x plus 3 is equals to, look at s here. So s, you put what? In place of s, put your what? 2x plus what? Plus 3 minus what? 3 divided by what? 2. Right? So it means that the inverse function of 2x plus 3 is equals to, this will give you 2x plus 3 minus 3 divided by 2. 3 will cancel out 3. So if 3 cancel out 3, you are left with what? 2x divided by 2. So this will cancel out this. So it means that the inverse function of into 2x plus what? 3 is equals to what? X. So you can see that we left with x, because 3 minus 3 is gone, so you're left with 2x divided by 2. And 2 divided by 2 just give us x. Wow, this is amazing. This is what I'm looking for. This is amazing. This is a pocket genius. Amazing. Now, from here, we're going to do something. So that means let's remove this from here quickly. But take note of this. Okay? Let me remove this from here quickly. Alright. So take note that the inverse function of the original function, which is 2x plus 3, okay, is equals to what? X, right? I want you to understand something very interesting here. So it means from here, we can swap, right? We are okay. Do you believe we can swap? So let's swap. It means that s is equals to e multiplied by what? Is equals to what? Y multiplied by e to what? Y. Right? Now, if s is equals to y multiplied by e to y, what are we going to do? If we can know the value of y, we are getting the inverse function of x. Can you see how simple and interesting it is? So it means that the w function, for you to have this y, that means the w function of this, of s, is equals to the w function of what? Into y multiplied by e to y. I know most people don't know why this will just give us y. That's why I'm coming. So that everybody will understand why this will give us s. Y. The question is why. Now, take note that all this is just y. So the inverse, the w function of s is equals to what? Y. It implies that the inverse function of s is equals to the w function of what? X. This is pocket genius. Amazing. I love this. Now, let's go back to our question. They said that why is it that the w function of s multiplied by s is always equals to s? Why? That is the question. Why? Now, come. Do you observe what happened here? Let's agree that the inverse function of s is equals to what? The w function of x. It means that the inverse function of this function is equals to s minus 3 divided by 2. But take note, I said earlier that whenever you substitute the original function into the inverse function, it must give us x. Yes, it must give us what? X. You know, when I substitute the original function in this, it gives us x. Do you know that? It gives us x, right? At this point, let's substitute the original function, which is what? S multiplied by e to x. So it means that the inverse function of the original function, which is x, which is s multiplied by e to s, is equals to what? Remember that whenever I substitute the original function into the inverse function, it gives us s. So whenever I substitute the original function into this, so all this means what? S. So that means the w function of into s multiplied by e to what? X. As you can see, you're having s, so you substitute your inverse function. Because some people don't know, take note that if y is equals to s multiplied by e to x, it means that y multiplied by e to y is equals to s multiplied by e to x. It means that s is equals to what? Y. Take note. So if I substitute this, is the same thing as this. Take note. So it means that if I see s, if I put s multiplied by e to x, is the same thing as y multiplied by e to y. But why am I putting s multiplied? Since you're having s here, right? That's why I'm putting it. Alright. Take note that whenever you substitute the original function into the inverse function, give us x. Look at what happened here. When I substitute the original function into the inverse function, give me us what? X. It means that all this, the inverse function of the original function here is just x, which is equal to the derivative function of what? Into s multiplied by e to what? X. Ha! Wow! This is amazing! So it means that the derivative function of s multiplied by e to s is equal to what? X. This is pocket genius. Amazing. Excellent. I see that simple and interesting it is. And whenever you see the derivative function of s to s is always equals to what? X. Wow. Wow. This is amazing. So have you seen why the derivative function of s multiplied by e to s is always equals to x? So this is why the derivative function of s multiplied by e to s equals to x, is because whenever you substitute the original function into the inverse function, the outcome of that is x. So it implies that if you put the original function in this inverse function, we give us s, and still we put it here, we still have s. So the derivative function of s multiplied by e to s is what? X. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is pocket. I love this. So thank you so much for watching. Please, if you find it interesting, don't hesitate. Do it to like, comment, and share it to loved ones or others who learn from it. Please, if you're not subscribed, do well to subscribe so that anytime we have exciting videos, you'll be notified. So thank you so much and God bless you. Bye-bye.